Okay, great. Hi everyone. I am on low bandwidth today, so I'll be showing my face. Sorry about that. But yes, welcome to the Chaos Weekly Community Call. If you're new here, please note that interactions is under the Chaos Code of Conduct, so be kind and respectful when you interact with others. We have a question for today. Put down your name if you want and let us know how you spent the holiday. Mm, yeah. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda. So this one is from last week. I know someone had a question around if there is a date yet for candidates to share their candidacy. So and Elizabeth wanted to check in on that. Elizabeth, I didn't know if you got to
Y- Yeah,
get. Mhm.
yeah, I can answer that. So, the election officers, myself, Emma, and Ali, okay, from the K Native community, we met on Thursday. We were not certain if the election would need to be temporarily put on hold just until, things kind of get resolved with recent events. So I reached out to the board, and the general sentiment was go ahead with elections as planned. We are running a little bit behind, so my we just need to adjust the timeline. I would say the original timeline was April 15th to start opening the nominations and election nominations, yeah, I guess would be a better word to say it. But so that's going to probably be pushed back maybe 1 or 2 weeks. There's a few things we need to a few minor details we need to tie up. But yeah, so I would say in the next probably 1 to 2 weeks, we'll be opening that. We are in the process of working on guides that will have screenshots and everything in there, and exactly what you need to do if you want to be a voter, and also exactly what you need to do if you want to be a candidate. So that's also in progress. So we just need to finish that up, tie up a few loose ends that were hanging out there, and then we can successfully open the candidacy. Yeah. So if anybody has questions on that, I'm happy to answer what I can. There's also a Slack channel too where you can answer or ask questions as well.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to see if you put that in the previous meeting notes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's that election help channel.
Yeah, yeah, okay, election help channel. Okay, great. So yeah, anyone has questions for Elizabeth?
Also, if I can just ask for your help in spreading the word about, making sure that folks who are not contributing with PRs to add their name to the using that issue in the community repo. If everybody can just kind of help us spread the word on that, that would be great. And it will take where we pulled activity from the past year. I think I might have misspoke last week on that. It's the past year that someone has to be active in order to be eligible to run as a candidate or vote. So if you are one of those folks and you have not submitted anything in that way in the past year, then you'll need to do so.
Mm, great. Whoever is adding that to the doc, thank you. All right, great. Any questions? Um, okay, great. Um, um, so yeah, the next is the proposal to move away from WordPress. Adrian, you brought this up the last time. I was wondering if like there is any update or no, totally fine if we have to skip it. Um,
I haven't done a ton with it since last week. I think I lightly was investigating, trying to just get maybe a demo going with decap. I hope I didn't accidentally spam any of the other owners of the Chaos GitHub or anything with potentially scary looking, like, ooh, access has been granted to things. I think I was trying to see if I could add permissions in a very granular way, and I thought it would give me more options when I clicked the button instead of just doing it. So I ended up I'm just gonna build it. I'm gonna see if I get time, which is highly unlikely soon. Um, I'll probably see if I can just build a demo just on my like personal GitHub just to kind of see can we get the static site generator that we were talking about kind of working and just see if there's any way we can get a proof of concept up just so that people have something tangible to look at and like, hey, can we play with this and see what people think? Um, I think the main point of bringing that up was mostly just kind of seeking community involvement and seeking contributors on that because I don't know if I have time to single-handedly like rewrite or rework the Chaos website. Um, but I think there's a couple items added to the agenda a little bit below for this week that I think tie into that now in terms of just generally talking about
Okay.
community infrastructure. So I don't know if people have still questions about the website or if we want to include those as well.
Yeah, like I mean, you can go on and talk about those. Assuming you're the one that put them here, the community infrastructure, right?
Yeah, and the Zulip thing, I noticed I think it was Elizabeth's announcement about on Slack the other day as far as like, hey, we're dropping to the Slack free tier, like message history is going to be limited to 90 days and things. Um, I was just kind of throwing around ideas for how like would the community be interested in moving to something like a Zulip or another sort of more open source alternative that maybe gives us more options to self-host or something like that. Um, and along with the kind of thoughts about self-hosting and things, um, I figured it might be interesting to potentially look at like could we create maybe like a community infrastructure fund or something, some kind of like 'cause I know there's other organizations I'm in that use Open Collective and they've been able to do sort of sub initiatives like in terms of like making like a fundraising pool essentially like hey we're holding this community dinner like the community is paying for the dinner contribute suggested amount to this like alongside your RSVP kind of thing. So I almost wonder if we could do something similar to that in the Chaos Open Collective and say, hey, here's an infrastructure fund. Like, obviously, try and pursue like using Zulip's offerings that for open source projects that let us use it for free. But even if we're getting the infrastructure for free, I think it would be still helpful to kind of start building a dedicated fund where people who like especially members of chaos who are working full time or deriving a lot of their income from indirectly from their work on chaos providing them a way to give back and support that infrastructure that often goes unsupported or unrecognized but it's like could be very disruptive if we like lost our Slack history or something like that um so I was kind of throwing a lot of that out there as like hey maybe this could be sort of a if we somehow in the future need to start paying for Zulip or paying to renew a domain name or something, there's already money there, and it doesn't become an immediate panic for the community, and we have a few months of runway to find new sources of funding and things like that. So that was just kind of the general vibe of a lot of those suggestions kind of together because I think um, there's been a lot of thoughts about community infrastructure lately.
Yeah. I'll be curious to know what people think about what Adrian is currently sharing. Yeah, sure. Elizabeth.
I so to your point about the sub fund, that is definitely something that can be set up in Open Collective for directed funding like that. We certainly could do that. I think I would love to see that. The only challenge I see is that right now, I think our Slack, I'm under the impression that our Slack is about $2,400 a month to fund, which is not a trivial amount, really. So that would be my only challenge is would we get enough to fund the Slack? But to your point, like if it could be used to fund other things like our domain name or I'm not sure about Zulip, how much that costs or anything, then yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea.
I think my intention more with the infrastructure fund was less directly trying to fund Slack because that is a lot more money than I thought it would be. I think I was thinking of it more in terms of like a complement, like a not necessarily mandatory, but like a forward-thinking add-on to like if we were to step into Zulip and utilize some donated infrastructure from them in terms of like, hey, we're an open source community, can we utilize their sort of free policy for getting a paid plan for free as an open source community? If we step into that, like I think just because we get that infrastructure for free doesn't mean we should necessarily treat it as free. And I think if we kind of have bring up that fund at the same time, we could kind of have like I know I would probably personally be willing to donate a couple dozen dollars a month or something to that, and it just use it as kind of a way to like, okay, as long as we're on Zulip, like the cost is zero, but we're still building this fund so that yeah, maybe we're not able to fundraise enough to do $2,400 a month, but it's still maybe 20, 50, $100 a month from several people. And that can just accumulate and we can kind of live on Zulip as long as we can. But then there then becomes a healthy, like the longer we keep that going, the healthier fund we have so that if we do need to like buy infrastructure to self-host Zulip or increase our plan or something else, there's enough money there that it sort of it becomes more of a like which option do we want to do, which one's most economical, rather than like crap, how do we find this money? Um, so I was thinking out of it as more as like a future cushion of like even if we like let's try and step to something that is going to be a lot cheaper for us than $2,400 a month. But also if we get something for free, let's not treat it as free so that we can build ourselves a cushion.
Yeah, Jerry, if I understood correctly, the open funding you're proposing would be for Zulip, right? If we decide to like move to Zulip, is, is that correct? Like just sustaining like the paid domain that we'll be using to like host that particular platform.
So I'm calling it an infrastructure fund because I don't think it would be limited to Zulip. I think there's a lot more, like Callie is saying in the chat, I think there's a lot more aspects of chaos that fall under
Mm.
infrastructure that I think could also make use of that money. I don't want to like create the cushion and then immediately spend it all, but like having the money there so that like, hey crap, this domain needs like our chaos.community needs renewing, or I mean, I know that's managed by LF, but like if we have important things we need to run, like, hey, maybe we want an AWS account so we can host several different things all in one thing, or whatever, like whatever infrastructure thing come up, like we can maybe vote on it as a community or something, and have the money there to support those kinds of critical project sustaining things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, with the recent events going on, I think it would make sense to assume that a lot of these issues might arise in the future where we would need this fund to help solve solve them, right? So yeah, that makes sense. But specifically to Julie, I see Elizabeth mentioned that we might be able to still keep Slack since like we are a part of LF, the Linux Foundation, and she's waiting to like hear back from the liaison, right, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
So
So we'll see what comes of that. I had not heard about that. So we'll see. We'll see if I get a response relatively soon. Yeah, that would be the best, in my opinion, that would be the best case
Oh
scenario,
yeah,
that, they just take care of it and then we just can use it. And that's what they do for
yeah,
our Zoom account. For anybody who doesn't know, like that's paid for by the LF. So it would be really great if we could also have them pay for our Slack. But yeah, I'll definitely let you know. And if I don't hear anything by tomorrow, I'll ping her again. And then if I still don't hear back, then we'll figure out what to do, I
yeah.
guess.
But I think in general, I think that this is a weird combination of concerns because it's like I think even if we do like I would obviously agree like if we can get LF to adopt our Slack, that would be the best outcome because then that's sustainable into forever. Um, I think even then, though, I think it might still be worth maybe not as immediately, but eventually talking about some kind of community like funding for like I said, Callie had other concern like other places, and I think building up that cushion is just generally going to be something that's going to help. Like and especially just even evaluating the appetite, like how many people actually do end up contributing to this before we need it, right? Like, and then maybe that helps us forecast like, okay, what can we do with this and still kind of keep a healthy safety cushion.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Okay. I mean, migrating to a new platform is definitely not going to be easy, right? Especially with the fact that we've tried this in the past and it sort of like did not work. I believe what we discussed um some years back. So yeah. Um yeah, discuss, yeah.
Discourse, I think,
Okay.
it's not necessarily a chat platform. I think in terms of
Mm-hmm.
technically, I think might like Zulip does allow you to import from Slack, and I know me and several of the people with elevated access to Slack are able to export at least public messages to import. So I think that the biggest hurdle with that move is going to be more the social side of how do we get everyone to move along with us. And I think if we are indeed going to be limited, like if we have to drop down to the free tier of Slack and lose message history, that's a pretty strong push away from Slack for potentially a lot of people. So I definitely think if we can avoid having to move to Zulip or anything else, that's ideal. But I think if the move is if we're kind of forced into moving or losing message history, it's at least a slightly less high friction option.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any comments on this? Any other thoughts? I don't know what what the next step might look like. Maybe we'll wait to hear back from the LF first, because I think that's the infrastructure bit that we probably need to sort out now, like right now. Then, yeah, when we get to hear from them or not hear from them, then probably like cycle back to that conversation. Okay. Um. Right. Since we're not having any comments, the next one here is the chaos metrics. So this one was me. I can't remember what I was looking through, but I noticed that there was a open demographic question cited in this particular metric, and it's the link is broken. It throws a fall for error. Let's see, share my screen here. I think it's somewhere here. Right. Yeah, this question here. Um, yeah, so I was just generally thinking, so it just got me thinking about a lot of our metrics and the content on the website currently. And I was wondering like if people see or think that some of those texts need updating or need some review and how might we go about that? I know there's a conversation around that going on in the DI working group um, around updating some of the metrics specifically to the event badging. But I was wondering if it's something we want to look into um, generally in the community, like pretty much maintaining. I think these metrics have been created for a while now, and I wonder if we've had the time to actually go back to look into them and see if they're all still relevant, but also like if the um yeah if they need updating. That makes sense. So yeah, this is an open conversation to everyone.
That link works on my machine.
Does it now? But that's yeah. It's still true default for error. Yeah. Could it be location 10?
It might be. I don't know how. I don't remember the exact name of the hosting provider that we are using for WordPress. I believe that goes through. I think Sean is the primary one with access to that. I think I've heard Georg and some other people have also access. I don't know what the policies of that provider are in terms of
Hmm.
like geo restrictions or anything. If I send a link to a different metric in the Zoom chat, do you want to try clicking on that to see if that also 404s?
Yeah.
Okay, so that. Hmm.
Yeah, like okay, I think you misunderstood what I said. I mean like the open demographic question that was cited in the metric, not the metric page itself.
Oh, the
Because
first link within it.
yeah.
Oh no. Oh, yeah, no, I see the 404 now. Yeah. Okay, I was just using the wrong link.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, like I was just thinking generally, if a lot of these metrics needs like do we need to go over them to really see if they need updating, right? If they're still relevant. Yeah, that's thinking about it sounds like a lot of work now.
I think that's worth doing. I mean, it does sound like a lot of work. I think I have seen in the sort of more static site generation realm, like I've seen various plugins or GitHub Actions and things that can like scan your generated website for links and
Mm.
check to make sure they're all not 404ing and stuff, and like fail your build if they're 404s or whatever. Um, so I potentially see that as another potential way that we could benefit from starting to shift over to um, a more statically built website. I don't know when or how fast that's likely to actually happen, but I imagine being like doing just sort of holistic content reviews might become a natural part of that
Mm.
migration. As we kind of pull pages over one at a time, we can just review them as they get migrated. Like, okay, is
Yeah,
this still accurate?
yeah, yeah, of course, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Like do both work at the same time. And yeah. I don't know what do other people think? Any thoughts on this? Mm. Okay. Um, all right. If folks don't have any thoughts or comments on that, then mm, yeah, I think that's all on the agenda today, except anyone wants to talk about anything else. Okay. Yeah, so we have a couple of reminders. The first one is we're calling for volunteers to help facilitate the weekly meetings. Like this meetings, it happens weekly, every other Tuesday. So there's this sheet that Elizabeth put together that you can put down your name if you're open to contribute in that regard. And there is a guide for how to facilitate these meetings. So like if it is your first time doing something similar, then yeah, we got you. Then, of course, the chaos board election is coming. As mentioned earlier, please help spread the word, especially for people who are making contributions that don't show up on GitHub, like as a PR, right? They should use this issue for non-PR contributions. Yeah. Um, sorry. Okay. Then, of course, new courses from the Chaos Education Working Group. If you'd like to take a look or also contribute to the part 2 of the future of open source, you can check that out by visiting the GitHub repository and asking the maintainer to assign that to you. Yeah, I guess that's how it works. um, yeah, so that's all for today's meeting. It was nice to see everyone. Oh, hi, Joy. Yeah, that's let me quickly fetch that link. Yeah, okay. So this is a spreadsheet that you can add your name to volunteer to facilitate the next weekly meetings. So yeah, you're welcome. Okay, all right, friends. That's all. I will stop recording.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mary.